Dennis Munson Jr. made his debut as an amateur kickboxer at Milwaukee's historic Eagles Club on a Friday night in March 2014. It would be his last fight. The bout was one of 15 on the card that night, all under the auspices of Rufus Sport, the city's leading gym and the area's only major promoter of kickboxing and mixed martial arts. In Wisconsin, kickboxing is unregulated, but those who oversaw the fight all have a long history in the sport. The referee was Al Wiggers, with nearly 4 decades of experience, much of it working at Rufus Sport events. The ringside doctor was Carlos Feliciano, who has a degree in emergency medicine and is medical director at a testosterone clinic. He works out at Rufus Sport. In Munson's corner was Scott Cushman, a veteran coach and top striking instructor at Rufus Sport, and Joe Nichols, his day-to-day coach on the kickboxing team. Munson started out fast, but faded and collapsed at the end. Officials running the bout said Munson just looked tired. But a dozen independent experts who reviewed this tape said the referee, doctor, and cornermen all missed key moments when they should have intervened to help Munson. The first sign of trouble came at the start of the second round. Munson staggers slightly as he stands up in his corner and steps to the middle of the ring. Experts call this a gait disturbance, something ringside doctors, referees, and others are trained to look for as evidence of a changing condition.
He looks fatigued coming out already. So he takes a jab, he takes a leg kick, okay, and then there's, I guess, a timeout for a groin kick right there. You see the ref breaks it from what I presume he thought was a groin kick, and then he turns away. The ref turns away, but the African-American kid stumbles. He doesn't have his feet under him at that point. That's not exhaustion. That's lack of coordination. See, he takes a weird step there. That's the first thing that I would notice where I would be watching really carefully.
It was the first indication of a deteriorating fighter. As the second round progresses, the change in Munson becomes more apparent. His feet cross, putting him in a vulnerable position.
And he staggers, and his arms go down. And right then and there, I'm doing this as a ringside physician for over 20 years, and we watch the fights very closely. And one of the first things you look for is any kind of gait disturbance. And when you see a gait disturbance or you see a fighter, with some balance issue, you right away kind of get on the edge of your seat because you're kind of wondering at that point, was there a shot? Was there something else that happened? Was there something you didn't see?
You really err on the side of caution for an amateur, and especially a first fight guy. I'm telling my referees, hey, this is the guy's first fight. I'd rather they get upset with my referee, and then I'll take the heat off the referee and say that the commission ordered it, or if the doctor stop it and say, well, that's the way we get it. I'd rather stop it too soon than too late in an amateur fight.
See, he's stumbling all over. His feet aren't under him. That's not just exhaustion. Usually people move in a coordinated but slow kind of thing. They get tagged because they're tired, but they're not stumbling. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit different.
At the end of round 2, Munson staggers back to his corner.
The ref again turns his back. As the kid goes back and he crosses his feet again, he kind of staggers back to the ring, and at that point, I definitely would be in there for an eval.
The doctor, Feliciano, looks into Munson's corner, then to the other corner.
I would be shocked from what I did see if that fight occurred in New Jersey and the ringside physician didn't enter the ring after round 2.
He then picks up his cell phone, taking his eyes off the fighters for about 20 seconds, at a time when experts say he should be watching them closely.
I I would also have admonished the referee for not going to check on both corners in between rounds.
Munson sags as he sits on the stool. His coach, Cushman, pushes up his head and shoulders repeatedly, but neither the doctor nor the referee check on Munson's condition. As Munson stands for the third round, Cushman catches him and helps prop him up. It appears the referee and doctor see this, but do nothing. In the third round, experts say the warning signs are even more clear.
He's wobbling around. This is where I'm getting really concerned as a referee. I could see Al watching him. He's seeing what's going on.
Rufus Board officials would later say Munson was defending himself, one basis for keeping a fight going.
He told him to come on. He told him to fight. He didn't ask him if he wanted to fight. That's two different things. Yeah, he's really rubbery here. This is where Al would need to step in, maybe even do a standing 8 count. Ask him a couple questions. At this point, he's just watching him. Communication for a referee is very important.
The referee has got to recognize that. Why is he in the ring if he's not there to protect the health and safety of the fighter? And what was so disturbing is not only didn't he notice it, not only did it progress throughout that second round, not only did he stagger to his corner between the second and third round, he could barely come out that third round.
If you see a guy stumble like that, like he's holding onto the ropes, he takes 2 unsteady steps. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not liking it. Especially with young athletes. He's too tough for his own good.
When the bell sounds, Munson stumbles back to his corner. Cushman steps into the ring. Wiggers, the referee, is standing in another corner. The doctor looks into Munson's corner and then again picks up his cell phone.
When a fight's over, especially when somebody is damaged, the referee should be following that fighter back to the corner and checking them. Al turned the opposite way and never even looked at him.
The video shows Munson standing in the corner, and then the next moment he's on the ground. What happened? This video, which was submitted to police, doesn't show it. The video is missing 32 seconds at a critical moment. Rufus Board officials can't explain the missing footage, but say it wasn't deliberate and there was no attempted cover-up. A second video, also submitted to police, fills in the gaps. It shows Cushman slapping Munson in the face and holding him up by the neck and face. The referee comes over. Cushman leans over to signal for medical help, but the doctor is looking at his cell phone. Then the timekeeper taps the doctor on the shoulder. Munson collapses.
When we talk about head injuries, every minute counts. So not only did they spend how many more minutes it took them to finally get the kid out of there, but how many more headshots did the kid take, which could have contributed to, his ultimate demise.
The doctor never enters the ring. Instead, Munson is rolled out of the ring and moved to a chair. The ambulance crew wants to give oxygen, but the doctor says none is needed. Just prop him up.
So you mean the guy fell to the ground and the doctor's still standing there in the corner? Wow. At this point, I would have had all of my doctors in there. We would have been supporting his neck. We would have had the paramedics come in. At that point, they would have started him on oxygen. We would have put a neck collar on him. We would have put him on a backboard. If need be, start an IV and basically get him out. So, and all the time, like, he's still sitting there and the guy's down, and he's kind of rolling him out. That's not how it works.
It was the first of many delays in getting Munson care. It would take at least a half hour to get him to the hospital, hung up by a snafu with a manual elevator and confusion over the transport. By the time Munson made it to the hospital, he was in a comatose state. He died a few hours later. The medical examiner found he died of complications from head trauma.